now. That's why you see now bigger head football coaches are bringing in other, prime example, Alabama. Their agents probably got together and made that happen and talked to each other about it. And because I doubt Nick Saban looked at Indiana and was like, I need that.
Yeah,
they're
probably
Indiana.
he
They're very average
care.
team.
He doesn't care that much.
But who knows?
No, I think he cares about every possible step. Anything that could make that team better.
He wouldn't hire guys that have track records the way they do. He's probably fuck it, I can win with whoever.
Well, really, I mean,
I guarantee it.
Track record is one thing, but it's. I think his thing is he knows he can get away with giving somebody a second chance where another school couldn't. Because he's still at the helm.
Yeah.
Almost but he knows what he can get out of that person. And he's like, look, I'm your last shot.
It's I don't need you to win giving away Chargers and Challengers too.
Well, now with the new rule, they can do whatever the hell they want. It seems like.
Well, here's what I was talking to somebody about the other day. Is now with people now with some of the kids earning money and stuff, it's going to be taxable income. So and eventually the universities may say, hey, your scholarship's taxable.
Well, no, that's what me and somebody were talking about it the other day.
It's really going to be a bad deal for them. It's going to give
because it's going to be oh, you want to get paid? We'll pay you, but then you're getting taxed. The thing with the money with the kid, we all were there and got money. Well, not you.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
Nothing's going to.
So it's you guys got to be there because of me.
So it's like this.
You're welcome.
Give the kids a little bit more money to live off of. That's fair. Yeah. They should be able to pay their rent, buy food, go spend money at a bar, and not grow out to eat and not worry.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
They work hard enough. They deserve that.
Some of these kids that complain about they don't have this, that's not true. That I know that's not true because I was there. I know what I got at a major university and a small university, so I know what you're getting.
Oh yeah.
Don't bullshit. Yeah. But anyways,
it's always that woe is me.
So we don't have enough money to eat. It's you don't have enough money to eat, really. You get freaking food before and after practice, and you probably get $3,000 to $5,000 a semester to live off of, plus possibly Pell Grant, which is another $6,000. What else do you want? Where does your money go?
Plus free meals at the calf. Yeah. Food was
Anyways.
Plus it was a holiday break. It's fine.
All right, where are we starting?
Alrighty, yeah, before we're going.
Yeah, but now we'll officially start.
Yeah.
That was the warm up.
That was the intro.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the show, up here in Hattiesburg at Southern Miss with our buddy Chason. What's up, Chason?
What's up?
Welcome to the show. So I guess give the folks a little bit of backstory on you. You played with these guys in South Alabama, right?
Yep. Yeah. So grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and
where'd you go to high school?
Spanish Fork High School. Played varsity 3 years there. Really, we won 3 state championships, but I don't really count my freshman year because
you didn't contribute enough.
No, and I really only played freshman football. But going on from that, one junior and senior year, I got the bulk of my offers were probably Conference USA and Sun Belt after my junior season, and I really think, honestly, I was recruited off the size because if you look back at my junior season, I maybe totaled 75 tackles.
Yeah.
And I was just I was just a big, a big kid, big high school football player that looked athletic enough to be able to play college football.
Yeah.
So I was very humble, very, very glad to get an opportunity to play college football, and I really didn't expect it to go any further than that. I was just happy to be have my school paid for and have no student debt really.
Yeah.
So stayed home, went to South Alabama. I knew half the coaches already. Some of it had coached in my high school and things like that. But throughout my tenure at South Alabama, I met Jake, met Rink, met you along the way, or we'd probably seen each other in passing too.
Yeah.
But I think the journey through college, my first strength coach, Justin Schwinn, him and I think Joey Sharon pulled me aside one day after a workout, maybe during summer or something. I think it was my sophomore year. And we're like, hey, I really don't know what you're doing in school, but you need to look into being a strength coach because when you come in the weight room, you bring a different attitude. And you're sitting here on the floor coaching other kids while you lift, and you're kind of being a leader in the weight room. You need to really look into this this as a profession. And so that kind of got my mind switched on to things, and by that point I was probably 75% done with my business degree. And I was like, all right, well, if I get my 5th year, I'll get my master's in exercise science, make it happen, and go from there. So that happened. I finished my undergrad in 3 years, maybe 3.5, and then I had a 1.5 years to play with. So I ended up getting to the exercise science school, got my master's degree. Throughout that time, I was finishing playing football. I was working for Jake part-time. I remember I interned with him for a little bit and just worked out there as soon as I finished, actually playing ball. And then he really helped me get a grasp of like kind of the basic conjugate system and everything like that. And then we trained for pro day. Of course, I really didn't expect anything out of pro day. I just wanted to do it and be able to compete one last time with a lot of my friends, just to kind of put the nail in the coffin of my career, which was fun. And, if something came out of it, then great, but I really wasn't expecting. Like, I wasn't let down when, I didn't get a call after the day or whatever. It was just fun to train for it. And I, like, as a strength coach, I wanted to sit there and train for it and be able to take other kids through, through the same kind of thing. See something through, see a good training session all the way through. So after that, I kind of came in a fork in the road, and I had talked to a lot of, the strength coaches like LA, who I work for now, and Schwinn, and I talked to Jake and other things, and I said, hey, I kind of want to give this college thing a try. And, all of them pretty much said the same thing, like, if you're going to do it, go do it. Like, go out, you got to be willing to pick up and move and go after it. So I was like, okay. Let's do it. Coach Schwinn, I was lucky enough to get an unpaid internship at the University of Texas with some guys he knew out there. Phenomenal staff. I learned a lot from them. And I'm sure we'll go into that on another podcast. But ended up being there for 3 months. I wish I could have stayed the entire season to really get a grasp of things. But I guess either I did so well or I was just so diligent working there that they had found a part-time position for me, 3 months in an internship. They said, hey, do you want to move to Jonesboro, Arkansas? I work at Arkansas State. And it was like a Friday morning when we were like going through lift groups. And, my intern coordinator came up to me and said that, and I was like, whoa, what?
So the strength and conditioning world, a lot like the rest of college athletics, as much who you know as what you know? Yeah.
And I would almost look at it more as like, it, like the old saying is, what is it? The hands you shake, not the degree you make, or not the money you make, whatever. But it's more about the people you know.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just like, and I'm fortunate enough, like my whole career, I've been in the right place at the right time and around the right people. As young as I am to be in the position I'm in, like it's pretty unheard of. Like a lot of kids, a lot of GAs we've had here that I've ran into are my age, still in grad school. We're just now getting into grad school.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to get him on one day, because like I'm pretty sure he was wasn't he a football coach before he went to Alabama as an intern?
Yeah.
Like he had kids and everything.
Oh yeah, we've been grinding it out for a long time.
Yeah, he was like, I think he was like 30, I think he was like 30 or 31 or something, unpaid intern at Alabama. Like, so me and him, like going through those big unpaid internships at bigger schools, like we kind of like worked the same way. Like, hey, we want to like, we want to have interns here. We want to do this. We want to do that. And like, we're used to seeing big programs, but here when you get to like a little bit of a smaller school, it's finicky with things. You do the ins and outs of the day to day. You're more, you have to be more well-rounded in your profession. But yeah, got to Arkansas State. I was making like $1,000 a month there. It was a great time, great learning experience. I worked head of baseball and assistant with football, and then kind of just helped with the day-to-day of running the weight room and stuff like that, nutrition and everything like that. It was a good opportunity, good learning experience for me. And then COVID hit, and I was like, man, I really need to find a full-time job. Like, everyone else is getting laid off from their jobs and this and that and the other. And, Coach Schwinn, again, reached out to me and said, do you want to get into tactical? And I was like, well, there's probably not going to be any opportunities in college football for the next 2 years, so might as well do it now. And if I jump back into the pool later, good, let it happen. But ended up taking a contract job out in El Paso, Texas, working with the military. Worked with a couple different groups out there, anywhere from 300 to 3,000 soldiers. And really, that was just like almost like seminar type things, you know, like a CrossFit level 1 or something like that. Like it was that type of stuff, but we would kind of build out our own kind of educational platform, and you know, send them out to the military and kind of go and like, you know, do 3 days with one group, 2 days with the other, or whatever, and you know, teach them basically how to lift and how to program for strength, how to program for, you know, cardiac output, and everything like that. So that was a really good time, really good job, really good, you know, profession for someone who maybe has kids or a family or something. But for me, I think there was still something there with college football.
Yep.
And luckily, you know, as soon as LA took this job, he called me, and I was like, I can be there in 2 weeks. And he's like, perfect, let's go. You know, so been here since January, and loved it ever since. You know, got to know a lot of the kids on a personal level. I think me being so young, they kind of are able to look at me or come to me with some more of their personal problems.
Yeah, they feel more comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm a bridge to some of the other coaches too, to kind of translate things into more, you know, terms for them to understand. But I think my role here is going really well, and just to kind of help, you know, kind of be all hands on deck, help anyone, anytime. And you know, as a strength coach especially, that's what you're here to do. You're not here to rule the world or, you know, run the whole building. You're here to get the kids ready to play their sport. So that's led me up to this point now.
Yeah.
But
nice.
No, it's been fun.
Yeah, and you work with football and what, track?
Yeah, so right now we're splitting football and track, and we just had 2 GAs leave. One ended up getting a seasonal internship at the Buffalo Bills, and then another one went and took a part-time spot at Michigan. So they're both off doing big things. Hopefully they get big-time jobs soon too. But it's, you know, they were kind of part of the last staff too, so I'm sure they kind of, you know, knew they needed to find something when they got here. But I mean, a month into them working with us, they kind of fit in perfect, and they were really good coaches. They knew what they were doing. They were coaching the track team by themselves. So they were good guys, but I wish them nothing but the best. So yeah, now we're kind of empty nesters. We're trying to find some more people to bring in and work with us. But no, it's been fun.
Nice. Well, tell us about, maybe we can do a walk around and you can show us the weight room. Because like for a smaller school, you know, like coming from South, like me coming from Virginia Tech, like we had everything under the sun in the weight room, right? Like I was telling you, we had the T-Rex leg presses that nobody's ever seen. Like we had crazy stuff in there that nobody had. Then you get to South, and like they're like, oh, it's a newer school, smaller school, we don't have the budget, we just have bars and chains and bands, which is cool. Then you come here and like the weight room's small, but like literally it's like an amalgamation of like every brand, everything. Like I mean, you have Sornex benches, racks, Elite FTS. Yoke bars, Elite FTS, like Frankenhypers are like $3,000 a pop. I mean, you have Kaiser belt squat, Kaiser cable machine. I think those are probably Sornex lat pull downs. Yeah. You have some other Elite FTS stuff over there. I mean, you have Vertimaxes hooked up on every pillar. I mean, you guys have a bunch of stuff that I don't think people really would think a smaller school would have, like, you know, not a Power 5 would have.
Yeah.
And how do y'all incorporate a lot of this stuff, use a lot of this stuff? I know when LA got here, a lot of this was probably here. You said you rearranged it where, I mean, honestly, I feel like you can do a lot in here, how you move stuff around. Mm-hmm. But just kind of talk about the equipment, because I know coming from Arkansas State, you probably didn't have all this.
No, and
this stuff.
Yeah, we had a brand new weight room at Arkansas State when I got there. It was their first year in it. It was all hamstring stuff, and they had half racks. It kind of looked like this a little bit, but it was a little bit longer. But here, yeah, it's a kind of a culmination of a bunch of different brands, a bunch of different, probably strength coaches that have come through here in the past, 5 or 6 years. I know they gutted the weight room, let's say probably 5 years ago, and brought all Sornex stuff in here, which is fine. I mean, it's pretty functional for what we do. I think a lot of the equipment we have now, we make work. But like the add-ons, like the fat bitches from Elite FTS, I think William Strength made them. and especially the Frankenheipers and stuff, that's shoulder savers for us, and that's posterior chain, builders.
Well,
like
especially like that, the Frankens, the duals. I mean, for how many square feet is this? 10,000 maybe.
If
If
that,
that, like 10 to 8. So like you have a dual Franken, you have a reverse hyper load hand put together, and a footprint that's probably 2 feet by 5 feet. So like that saves a lot of room. So having 16 different pieces of equipment, you have 8 of them.
Yeah. For sure, and we use them almost daily. And of course the pitch shark, we have a couple kids with slip discs that just literally can't put a bar on the back. And as a strength coach, especially in a college setting, yes, you would love. I think everyone should go do a back squat, yes. But especially some of your older guys, why would this line all the time?
You don't have to.
Or linemen, and we play it by feel. If I think someone really needs to be over there with me on the belt squat, again, come over. We'll still get working, and we'll still build some sort of strength. But for the most part, we're, especially now in the summer, we're trying to get these kids ready to play. It's not so much about building anymore. It's hey, let's perform, especially going into July right before camp. It's hey, let's get ready. Feel bad today, or hey, maybe I have some kickers over there that don't want to put a ball on the back. That's fine. You still get some work on the belt squat. You're still going to squat heavy weight. Just may not be on your shoulders, maybe on your hips today. But yeah, all this equipment is great. We really haven't gotten to the Raptors a whole lot. We keep kind of programming stuff in, but then by the day-to-day, or when we get to that Thursday when we want to do some of our jump stuff, we're just the guys are kind of tired. Let's not do band resistant jumps today. We're kind of a bitch to move around too. But I'm sure we'll get into it, especially in season. Doing some band resistant stuff in here just to keep guys active, But a lot of this equipment, already here. Like I said, we've only been here a couple months. And, there's some stuff we want to add for sure. We want to get some bigger trap bars that you can actually load up to kind of save their lower backs and stuff. But other than that, we've got stuff here that you could sit here and make new things up almost every day.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. When we walked in, there was a bunch of stuff I wasn't expecting to see compared to, I see when you post videos when you're coaching or you're lifting and stuff, and you just kind of see your own platform, but everything that's in here, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know who, I bet nobody else in the conference you would say maybe UAB has, the Vertimaxes or maybe some Kaiser stuff, or even the Frankenheipers, nobody has that stuff, and the kids are using it, they're going to stay healthy and strong and be able to compete with those top level schools, because that's what they have.
Exactly. Yeah, and the Kaisers are great for a lot of our quarterbacks, and a lot of our guys just coming off with shoulder surgery and different things like that, because it's really a pressure. What you call it? But it's resisted by pressure. So a lot of those quarterbacks, we can get different angles, pull a single arm, pull a double arm, or really push it off of it too, or we can get, like a bodybuilding cable fly or something.
With all the Kaiser stuff, you can set it to a certain resistance where you get, there's no, the angle doesn't matter, it's the same all the way through the whole chain of movement. So you're getting that same resistance all the way through, except for those guys that have shoulder issues, so if you're doing something just how the levers are on the body, if you're doing a bicep curl, once you get to 90, it's way easier. But on the Kaiser, with the air compressor, if the resistance is all the way up, you feel it the entire range of motion. Exactly. Because the resistance is that same. So you have guys that have shoulders, backs, your hips, your pitch shark, but the Kaiser shark, whatever you call it, just full range of motion with the same resistance. You're not going to get that anywhere besides maybe the Rhino, when we have bands on it, you kind of have resistance the whole way through. But even a normal squat, you get above 90, you can kind of grind it out. With that, it's
same pressure all the way through, which is great. Yeah, man, I love all our equipment here. We're hoping to add on to it. Hopefully, if we win enough games, get a bigger weight room here in a couple of years. But we'll see what happens. For right now, we make it work. We run about 30, 40 kids in here at a time. So it does get a little crowded, but we make it work.
I think, too, one thing since y'all rearranged is when you're doing bar work, you can have a bunch of kids right here where we're at, and you have a bunch of kids over there, so it's not too crowded. at South before they, sometime, I can't remember how it is now, but like, I mean, kids were like back to back in the weight room, like doing like deadlifts or clean. It's just like not the safest environment we have.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll get like that a little bit in here too, but it's not terribly bad, and we can manage it. And especially like you said, like, you know, if we have, say, you know, we run a lot of like circuit type things, or we kind of superset everything together. We'll do like a clean, and then we'll have like a corrective over here, right? So kids can come over and, you know, hit their corrective, and then go back to their clean, and kind of stay out of the way of one another. And we're high tempo train. Like, if you're doing a push, well, you're coming over here and doing a pull right after, you know. And that's just the way LA likes to program. He likes to get a lot of work done in a short amount of time. And I think it gets these kids in really good shape really fast. And some of the things we do, like we'll pair a back squat with a pull up. You know, we'll throw the safety bars up, and we've been on a huge kick at Hatfields lately, just because it's almost like you're replicating a box squat, but the kids can control how much their hands are helping.
You know, and like with the kids too, like they have that mental thing of like they're lifting heavy because you can go a lot heavier, but you knowing that it's safer, but they're going to get stimulus.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. And we have target weights for all these guys that we want them to hit. Like, you know, hey, you got Hatfields today. We want you to hit. You know, I think the bar is 65 pounds, right? So like, we want you to hit anywhere from 405 to 425 for, you know, a set of 4. And if it's feeling light, we want you moving with speed. If it's feeling heavy, grind it out and let's go, you know. So that's kind of how we run kind of like an RP type system here. We have goal weights for everyone to hit. And if they hit those weights for the day, hey, like, you're good. Come back next week, throw 5 more pounds on it, let's roll. You know, we don't get too complicated with it. Keep it simple. We introduce probably 1 or 2 new movements a week to these kids, especially when they start kind of, you know, in a weight room you can feel boredom set in, but we still want to have a progression, right? So, you know, we may change a corrective, we may change something in the warm up. We may, instead of a bilateral Hatfield, we may go to a single leg safety bar squat, something like that for a week, and then go back to whatever we were doing. So we play around a little bit, but for the most part we stay on schedule with what we want to accomplish. You know, your push-pull and your squat, man. Push-pull squat. And then we're heavy on the GHDs for, you know, whether it be reverse hyper, glute ham, hypers, or lately we've been throwing in razor curls. That's kind of a change up too. I don't know if y'all remember the old school razor curl. Oh man. So it's like a glute ham, right? But you don't keep your back. I guess as you come up, you don't keep your back still. Like you go in and out like a C.
Oh yeah, that's how we do it. That's how we do
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's like literally going in and out.
Yeah. So we call it. Yeah. So we call it. He calls it a razor curl. And, you know, it's an old school movement that he's been doing for years. But like the kids have so much trouble with it.
But it's hard.
Oh yeah. Well, and they don't really understand like that, especially the hip flexion with the knee extension at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's awkward, you know, like.
But it all translates to when you're ready.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a lot of time because you got to go, but kind of talk about when you two got here, you and Lance, about what the kids were doing and kind of what you're doing now. Just like, not that what they were doing before was wrong, but I feel like when we've talked, they were so caught up in one way of doing things that the kids were, maybe they're brutally strong, but not brutally athletic.
Yeah.
You know, because they were so tight. Kind of get into just like how you bring in different elements of different training philosophies, because every kid's different, but if you just go straight West Side, where people get messed up with, they want to train like West Side. Well, West Side's a gym and it's a culture. It's not a system.
Yeah.
It's a culture of lifting heavy, yelling at each other, slamming bars, me beating your ass, you beating my ass, where in college you can't really do that. It's not the same. Kind of just talk about what you guys brought in different and kind of how the kids have picked it up and athletically and mobility and how they've improved so much just in the 6 months that you guys have been working with them.
Yeah, and I'll preface it by saying, like, there's no wrong way to do something. You know, maybe the coaches who were here before us saw a massive deficit in strength they needed to build up, and they knew it was going to take however long they were here to do it. by all means do it. And I'm not saying we do it the right way either. Like we mess up every day.
Yeah.
We literally.
We all can get better. We all can fix things.
We write our monthly or our weekly plan up, and then by Thursday it's like, oh, dude, we got to throw this out. We got to do something.
Yeah.
Right? It's all how the kids feel. It's all how they move. But yeah, like I don't think they had cleaned in 3 years. Which I mean, if you're gonna you gotta have some sort of. I think you have to have some sort of clean pool, whatever you want to do in a football program.
Yeah,
My kids love it. Like if they know how to do it, they love it.
And also, we're like with college football, I think you got to put it clean. Like, it's crazy coming from me because minus like the Olympic stuff that you guys follow, our program, like I don't really do cleans with my kids at schools just because I don't have time to. Because it's so technical, and I have 45 minutes. But in a football setting, I would do cleans because the shock absorption. Learn how to absorb that shock in here, so when on the field, you don't get your ass blasted because you don't know how to absorb something. Like when we were talking to, I think it was like we were just working with one of the kids in here earlier. Like we were just kind of talking about I was talking about snatching, like with your hips. Like, hey, if you uppercutted, right? And he was kind of like, okay, but then I showed him like, hey, like he's a tackle. Like when you kick slide, and all of a sudden your coaches tells you to bodily throw your hips and launch into them. Do you see where that translates from the snatch? They kind of click for them, you know what I mean? But just the absorption of, power clean 315, 360, like when you hit on the field, you'll be able to absorb that impact. Where before they didn't.
Sort of clean variation, and then we stick mostly right now to snatch pulls, just to develop the upper back.
It's tough to teach the snatch.
It takes too much time to teach a snatch, and I really feel like, especially for football, if we're getting sport specific, like being overhead in a snatch is a very compromising position. And if you ever look like that on the field.
Well, especially like the kids, a lot of them probably are weak up in the shoulders, and you don't want them to get hurt. Like, I get that, but like I said, like snatch deadlifts, snatch pulls. I mean, you get your upper back strong.
Exactly.
Because you're doing your lower back every day with hypers or glutes. Now, upper back's a lot harder because, I mean, if you're doing pull-ups, horizontal rows, that's great, but pull something off the ground, wide stand, like, if you deadlift snatch grip, clean grip, I mean, that's 300-pound difference right there.
And it's a natural limiter, too, because the wide grip, your grip's not going to be very strong out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to sit here and deadlift heavy off the ground. And you're building up your back at the same time. And then they're learning to sink down in their hips a little bit lower as opposed to like a regular deadlift or a clean deadlift. So we think snatch deadlift or snatch pull is perfect. Maybe next year we'll get into snatch high pulls or we'll have some sort of lighter progression where we may go overhead a little bit. But, for right now, I think we're accomplishing most of our explosive work with our cleans and doing some of our other jumps and stuff too. We're huge into plyometrics. We try to jump once or twice a week at least, and we try to keep that pretty consistent. Even in season 2, we do box jumps or different depth drops or something like that. So we, like me and Ellie both, I think we've taken a lot of things that we've learned through everywhere that we've been, and we kind of put it all together into not the perfect program because, like I said, nothing's going to be perfect, but something we think these kids are going to get the most out of.
Yeah.
Biggest bang for your buck exercises, with the right progressions and with the right schemes. Now, when you get into sets and reps, like it doesn't matter, man. Like you're going to go higher volume on the upper body, you're going to go lower volume on the lower body. Like the way you manipulate the sets and reps really doesn't matter at the end of the day, right? We want quality movement.
Yeah, doing work.
Yeah, we want you moving heavy weight, and we want it to be quality movement. If we can't attack those, or if we can't achieve those two things, then hey, we need to figure something else out. And that's our job as coaches. It's not that, we don't try to fit the kids into a box. And we try to modify as much as we can, but with 2 coaches, you can only do so much. But we do modify a little bit, for certain kids who have certain issues. But, for the most part, especially the college strength coach, like you're never going to get it right. You never are. You can track all you want to. You can do all the data collection. You can have all the fancy gadgets. But at the end of the day, like if your kid is not bought into, hey, I want to clean 315, or hey, this is my goal and I'm going to go attack it and achieve it. Like it doesn't matter what you're tracking. It doesn't you got to throw a bar in the back. You got to be able to pick something heavy up off the ground.
No, for sure. It's the same thing of like doing with a bunch of weightlifters or some other. I know y'all do some RPR stuff you said in here, or RV stuff in here. But like some of these people that do that, it's like, I'm doing 7, I'm doing 8. Well, like are you when you go to a meet, like have you ever snatched 360? Like have you ever attempted it? Like how you know you can do it? Just because you've been working off an RPR stuff. Like come on, like you have to do it. Yeah. You have to build confidence. Same thing with like a kid when they're running. If they're running a 40 and they think they can run a 4.4, but they're running 4.7, it's like, hey dude, like we got to work on stuff. Yeah. Like, and once you start breaking it down, like you have 4.7, 4.65, the 4.59, like hey, see what we're like it's working. Now you're buying in. Yeah. The confidence is there, and they'll keep going.
And I'm not a running guru by any means. Like I'm learning, as much as the next guy, but. I had a kid who swore up and down he could run a 4.6 or a 4.5. He's one of our, better receivers. And he came out on test day and ran, a 4.7 or a high 4.6. And he was like, oh, faster. I was like, no, my stopwatch says you're not. And he was like, no, I swear I'm faster than I'll come back tomorrow and run. I was like, okay. So he comes back the next day. He runs a 4.7 again. And I'm like, this is how fast you are, bud. And he's like, no, I swear. So I was like, okay, watch. I'm going to cut, a 10th or 2/10 of a second off your 40 in the next 10 minutes. I was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, when you take off, every time, like at first I worked on a stance, gave him a basic 40 stance to, get out of it. And then I said, when you take off every time, your feet go outside your hips.
Yeah.
And what happens when you change, all right, when you change direction, what happens? Your feet go outside your hips to slow down and change direction. If you can keep your feet under your hips, that'll cut a 10th of a second.
Yeah, and that's going to take off probably an extra. He might be running 41 miles because he's going.
Yeah, exactly. So he did that, and then he got down to like a 4.65. I said, okay, all right, now I'm going to flip you around, and instead of running into the middle of the football field, he didn't know this, but I said instead of running into the middle of the football field, because there's turf fields, and every field is designed to be.
It's like a little for the water.
Yeah. So I turned around and I said, hey, you're going to run downhill. He didn't know. But he ran from the 40 in, kept his feet up under him, and then I cleaned up 1 or 2 other things with like his arm swing or his knee drive. Right? Yeah. Because a lot of times kids don't have good knee drive because they don't have strong hip flexors. Yeah. So I cleaned that up, and it's been 5 minutes or whatever. I think he ran like a 4.59. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I did 2 things to you when you cut like 2/10 of a second off your 40. Like that's how fast you really are. Yeah. Do you believe me now? Like when I say, hey, we need to fix this, this, and this, or hey, like, do you believe me now when I say, quit running outside your framework? He's like, yeah. So like we still have been trying to break that habit. Like every Monday when we have kind of our top speed stuff, he still is stepping. But he's a receiver. You can't blame him because every time when he comes off the ball, he staggers his route, or he sets up his route, right? Yeah, they're either releasing outside, or releasing inside. So that's just a habit he's picked up for years. And I said, hey, we're working linear speed today. We're not working your route trees. We're not, So
that's also like a lot of football, like players and coaches, like that when you start sprinting, sprints turn into conditioning. Yep. Like we all play, we all know we have sprints, but it's not like. In reality, we should probably do like 6 sprints a day for speed. Yeah. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Yeah. But all of a sudden, you start doing 10, 15 sprints for speed work. That's conditioning. So then you get lazy, you rise up. Same thing with like telling a kid, like, hey, if you can stay low between 16 and 17 yards, then rise up, you'll run a faster 40. Like just like that, because that's going to pull you through. And every time they do that, they'll run a little bit faster.
Yeah, and I think this past week, Mondays are our quality speed days. I think this past week we may have pushed the distance or pushed the reps a little bit, but it's good. We're overreaching a little bit because they're about to have a week off for 4th of July. Yeah. So, but I mean, we're working every day. We've got some fast kids. Like we'll throw the GPS units on them probably once or twice over the summer. But really, we track practice. We want to see their speeds during practice. Yeah. I mean, we know how much yardage they're getting. We know how fast they're running when they're training with this. Now, of course, I would like to throw it on a little more, but it's not a massive deal. But we see, like, we have a fast team. We have fast kids. Yeah. We want them to be that much faster or be able to hold that top speed for this much longer.
And it's getting them, too, to understand you know, a lot of the kids, especially the receivers, the fast kids, they want to be so aggressive and so violent. He's like, hey, dude, if you just like relax a little bit and be smooth, you're gonna be way faster.
Oh, yeah,
You
and
know
we
what I
worked
mean?
that. Yeah, we worked that this past week. We did. I think we did. You know, flying 10s or flying 20s. And we said, hey, make this one 90%. He said, what do you mean 90%? I said, I don't care. I want you to move as fast as you can move, but I want your face to relax, and I want your hands and elbows and shoulders and everything to relax while you're doing this, you know, flying 20 or flying 10 or whatever. And they were like, oh, okay. So, like, now that we've got these kids working in different, like, zones and different, like, weights and here and stuff, we can say, hey, this is the day we want to push you. This is the day we want to take care of you.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to start learning this as a player, as a person. Like, life is ebbs and flows.
Yeah, it's undulating. It's always going up
what
and
we
down.
do in here is ebbs and flows. What you do on the field is ebbs and flows. You got to learn when to push yourself and when to pull back. Like, you can't be soft about it. But
I mean, it's just like for instance, like me with stuff Don has me doing. Like some days, like I can't. Like yesterday, well, really on Wednesday, I was supposed to go like 195 to 200 on the clean and jerk, but I had food poisoning or something. The shit's all week. Like I couldn't do nothing. I felt like crap.
yeah.
I was cleaning it, but I couldn't jerk. I was just like done, dehydrated. And yesterday, I was supposed to work at 85%. Not a chance. Like, but I knew I was dead, so I just, you know, get some quality reps in, get some volume in, but not kill myself because I knew today I was supposed to go heavy as crap on snatches, which I did. I mean, I worked up to 360 something, missed those, but I was making my 350s, and then I waved all the way back up to 350 something, made it again, you know? You have to, like I said, you have to know your body. You have to know, like, if you're having a bad day in the weight room as a kid, like, tell the coach, like, hey, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm giving max effort, I'm just letting you know, like, and the coach is usually going to be like, hey, I could just give the effort. If you have to lower the percentage, just that's fine, but move it fast, but move it with intent. That's the thing, these kids, they realize the moves do have intent. Even girlfriend breaks up with them, they fail 2 tests, they're on the line of being ineligible. Like, hey, we get it. Like, we were all there. We understand. Like, we had teammates or ourselves that went through that. But when you're in here, even if you feel like shit or you're not 100%, if you have the intent of getting better, it's gonna, your nervous system's gonna get that, and you're gonna get the most out of it. It's just going through the motions is what kills teams, kills players.
And that's the thing. Like, if I've got a smart player in here, like Foxy's in here right now, if he comes up to me, I see him working hard every day. Like, he's in here grunting, he's in here grinding. And if I see him one day come in and he doesn't have the juice, like, I can see it at warm-up. I see every single kid how they warm up.
Yeah.
And I tell them, like, hey, if you don't have intent in your warm-up, then I know you're not here to work today.
Yeah.
Or if you're just not feeling good in the warm-up, something's off. Like, because we do a lot of CNS prep and a lot of kind of, like, just eyeball testing during the warm-up. If I see some kids, like, losing his balance a lot, or, like, he's really frustrated with it, I'm like, hey, let's pull back today. Let's not be soft, but let's hit your 100%.
Yeah.
Let's not hit my 100% that I want you to do. Let's hit your 100%.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that's a big thing of it too. Is like, and I'm still young, like I'm finding that as a coach, but it's the kids who are in here and want to work. It's pushing them to the limit, not past it. Because eventually we'll get past it. In those games, you'll get past it, right? I don't need to push you past it in here necessarily all the time. Yeah, 1 or 2 times, great. But every day coming here and just beating you down, especially some of our older guys, not worth it.
I think it's probably time today, but I think that's a good way to end it. Is just like we always preach, and like Chason just preached, the intent of your workout, the intent of what you're doing for work today. Like, even if you're at 50%, like you give 100% intent, like you're gonna get better no matter what. Sports, life, training, weightlifting, CrossFit, studying, reading a book. Like, you're studying for an exam or something, and like your mind's not there. You know what? Maybe 5 minutes, be busted, take a break, come back, but the intent's there to get better. So don't forget, like, subscribe. I'll put all of our Instagram handles on here. Follow us. Be sure to share it, all that good stuff. And next week, I think you two and Cody are going to try to You're going to podcast during nationals while I'm
Yeah, we'll try to do a live podcast.
I've been planning to maybe set up at the gyms. We got the TV
Yeah, in the
right there.
background.
We can spin as you get up there, and then we'll talk smack on the other lifters
So
that aren't you. It's
But,
a good time.
can you tell me where to find you at, Chason?
Yeah, Instagram, I think it's just Chason Milner. And really, other than that, I don't really check Twitter a whole lot. I don't check Facebook. I try to stay off of as much as I can for as long as I can. But if you guys really want to reach out to me, just shoot me a DM or hit me up. I don't have that much knowledge, but what I have, I can give you. So,
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Ready, y'all?
Hey, Rick, help Bacon clean this up. Jason, let's do a walkthrough of the weight room as they clean up, and I'll put that in like the middle. All right. We'll get out of here.